Hey everybody, this is Ben here for the Tech Strategy Summer Invitational Tournament. We are here to witness the final matchup between Kakaburra and Turing. And I am joined today for commentary, as almost always, by Dove Queen.
Hello.
I also have AlphaTac.
Hi, how's it going?
And a third co-commentator for a fourth co-commentary, counting myself, Asgardiator.
What's up, everybody?
So we're going to try to see how many people we can get commentating at once on this final match. We're going to have a lot of analysis and opinion happening.
Lots
So,
of
It's
opinions.
probably
So many opinions.
Definitely opinions, definitely opinions. Let me do my quick rundown here on the rules, just in case any people have not seen the previous matchups and not familiar with how this works. This is a single elimination tournament. Each of the players will only be matched up against each other once. In that matchup, they will play 2 games. Each player has a chance to go first in 1 game. They play on the 6x6 board. The time controls have been changed since the not since the last round, but including the last round. We are now playing at 15 minutes plus 30 seconds for each move made, so that after 30 moves, the players would have accumulated a total of 30 minutes of time. So it's very similar to the earlier time controls, but it allows the games to continue playing longer as long as the players are making progress. Undos are not allowed, except for in the case of a misclick where something in the interface or a slip of the mouse might cause something to be placed not where they intended. And at the end of the game, we'll be scoring based upon board and pieces, meaning they get the number of points for the number of squares on the board, 36, plus however many pieces you have remaining. And that is basically the same for both a road or a flat win. So that is how we'll score that. And one last time, we are going to take a look at the bracket, where everything went, where everything came from. Let me get that into view correctly, sorry. So we have here, we can see, we are now at the finals with Kakaburra and Turing. And Kakaburra is going to have the honor of going first in the first game. And that is in part, well, in wholly, due to his dominating performance in the semifinal round. So he earned the honor of going first by scoring 98 points in the semifinal match versus Turing, who scored 82 points. So it was quite close, really, but Kakaburra did come out on top point-wise there. And unfortunately, you might be noticing and wondering, we did have a bronze match that we were hoping to play, but unfortunately, we're just not able to work out the scheduling on that, so we may end up just completely foregoing it at this point. I don't have any word on if both players will be able to get together on that one. With that, are you guys ready? I think we have players ready.
Yep, the game's already up.
Yes, game is up. Let me get the game up. This is the game up. Here we
ready to
go.
go.
They are ready to go. Players have said they are ready, so I'm not missing anything. Let's kick this off.
Whew.
All right, here we go.
All right, gave the players the word.
I'm not even playing and I'm already nervous.
Kakaburra said the word.
Oh, they're being very sportsmanlike. Both are wishing each other good luck in the chat.
They're both very
yeah.
good people.
Absolutely. So,
Yeah, not like the rest of these competitors.
yeah, some of the people in that bracket,
Ooh,
man.
there's an interesting opening.
That's as usual.
It's not.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
There
kind
is-
of going with the like L Knights move kind of thing that people tend to like.
Oh,
Turing's going for a more positional play right now.
yep.
You know,
I'm
you don't
very
see
curious
moves
to see.
5x5 so often these days.
What was it?
You don't see moves like this on the 5x5 so often, where you play very far away from where you start. But on the 6x6, it actually turns out to be profitable, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, 5x5 really, after you watch or play 6x6 for a while, 5x5 seems surprisingly small.
So Kakaburra went for the second center row, and Turing is already having to block him off there.
Yep, definitely. He's making good on the advantage of white here. It seems that he's trying to be threatening.
I almost wonder if c3 was a mistake, because c3 would have been a great move for first player in Turing's position, but I wonder if Turing is just a move behind the counter assault here, because we see Kak already has an opportunity for a citadel, and Turing is kind of hemming him in. Never a good position for black when you're playing the border game. By border, I mean like border of the opposing islands, not like the border of the board, which I guess is the edge.
So I would say it's more like black is playing the surround game. He's working on surrounding.
Right, which I hate doing, and usually it leads to sucking and slash or losing. So here we have Kakaburra wondering how best to capitalize on this momentum. I'm looking at f3. I know d4 looks really good, but well, f3 Turing can respond with look at that!
Very
Wow.
early cap.
Disrupting the
And an
potential
instant response from Turing here.
Yep. Turing's been leaning towards playing his cap really early lately, so I'm not surprised by that.
didn't play it early enough, it seems, because he's second to the cap here.
The last game he played it turn 3, so it is a little
Wow.
late for him.
Yeah.
That is really early.
Same square,
We
too,
might-
actually.
We might not see a capture this turn, because obviously Kak is looking to keep up the momentum. Any ideas?
I think it's a little too early for a capture.
B3, you said?
Yeah, I'm thinking b3. You start building the threat gradually. The capture can come later. He wants to capture with a cap, so it's not like there's anything that can stop it. There's no urgent need to take c3. So instead, just build out that horizontal threat and, prepare for the future. Oh, very interesting.
He does that.
And instead, he captures.
Interesting. Maybe he didn't see any of the trades working out well. So my problem with b3 was going to be he can respond with c3 to the right, and then he controls d3. And yeah, so clearly Turing knows that he's having a party in the center here. The question is whether he can keep the party going.
We're on the 6x6, so there's a lot of room for placement. This is a very underdeveloped board. So these immediate captures, how well do they really work out in the long run? Are they necessary?
We'll have to see.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what he was going for with that capture. He is...
Yeah. Good call.
Okay, just, supporting.
And he does now control e3, pretty definitely.
It depends on how that cap from d4 moves. That could completely switch that up.
For the now, right?
Yeah, for now, he's got it.
If the cap moves down to d3, oh my god, the entire row is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me look at b3 for Turing. But also, I can't help but wonder if Turing is totally comfortable with this vertical threat that's building up here. Because, Kakaburra could e5.
It's so early in the game, though, to think of these as full threats yet, or even as developing threats. I'm inclined to. This is more staging. Come later, because think about like Turing's strategy, especially as we saw in earlier games. He builds things that don't come to fruition until a good ways down the line. So I would be surprised if Turing doesn't immediately respond to the Whitestone groups, but instead sets the stage for getting the kind of total board control that he's accustomed to by playing a little bit further from where the current action is and making a point later.
Right.
See, there we go.
There you go. A little bit further. He's ignoring the entire action. So
Because it's not really action yet. It takes at least 3 turns for any of those groups of stones to develop into a road. So that's a lot of time for a response. And if he needs to, his stones are already in the area. They can cut things off. So instead, what he wants to do is he wants to develop elsewhere to position himself. Because now white actually kind of has to respond to this.
Yeah. Or at least get back to doing the white thing, which is, starting
Blitz out a
fires.
threat.
Burning things down.
Yeah.
And like I'll be honest, I'm not afraid of white right now. I'm waiting to be afraid of white. I can't wait to be afraid of white. But like I don't have a good idea of what his scariest move is. Like B2 is starting to be scary, but there's so many ways that Turing can just say no. That's that I'm not actually afraid of that. He can move his cap. He can move E2, like. And so there's E5, which I was talking about before. Maybe Turing wanted to prevent, but yeah, okay. Apparently he had this wall. There's a wall there.
Wow, that's a really.
So he doesn't want to
Supporting
go
it.
Not as orthodox as it seems, because the wall is positioned close enough to the cap that if the road threat for white develops further, the wall moves on to e4, and then the cap can move on top of the wall and crush it, and then that now the flat stone under the cap and the cap can go on and overtake 2 more white pieces. So there's a strategy in the basically kill that stone group completely.
Yeah. And Kakaburra is kind of calling the bluff here, because he's like, well, you only got 1 wall, so even if you take e4, I can flat on f4. And it's like, you can't take them all. What's going on? What's he going to do? So I think if Turing wants total control of e and f, he's either going to have to put another wall down, which is, it's going to hurt, or...
I don't think we see a wall.
He's
I think we see...
No way he plays a wall. Not another one already.
I think
No.
Turing's
Yeah. I'm not saying he does another one right now, but eventually. Like like Turing's wall, like it was good, but Kak on f2, like he's saying it's not good enough because I still have most of the road here, and like I can just keep placing is what he's saying here. Because he can just keep placing. Like if f4 moves to e4, Kakaburra can go on f4 again, right? And it's like if Turing really wants to shut that down, he has to put another wall, or at least a flat, or move his cap even. Like he can move his cap to e4 and have this road be done with, but then he gives up the center.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a play like b3, or even something very unorthodox looking like a2 from Turing.
Yeah. The other thing that this does for Kakaburra is he can move d2 to e2 now without fear. So we might see
D2 to E2, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, not only does that give Kakaburra a giant island, but like it brings him that much closer to a road. Yeah, so we see Turing here trying to counteract d2 to e2 because he knows how bad that would be for himself.
So I think this is a manifestation of Turing's gradual development of concurrent road threats.
Right.
So he's getting this entire diagonal axis of the board, and that's not a mistake, and that's not a responsive strategy. I mean, there's some degree to which he's responding, but well, his moves are multi-purpose, right? Because that's what a player like.
I don't know if I can endorse b5 as a move. Like, I really think that flat would have been better served at e5. Like I was talking about e5 before because like that blatantly makes Kakaburra a lot scarier, and like he is scary now. I appreciate things like multiple irons in the fire sort of approach, but like
not the Kakaburra. Sorry, the Kakaburra is too scary right now. Nothing over here is alive as a road threat. This road threat dies if he tries to make it.
Well, I mean,
I am afraid for Kakaburra because I think that and you know what? Let's have a sporting bet here. I think that by the end of the game, that b5 stone is going to be a part of Turing's road. At least threats.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. Only time will tell.
Yeah, I mean,
here I'm pretty sure
I would be
Kakaburra is
afraid
gonna. Kakaburra's got to think about developing his horizontal threat at this point. I mean, it's still he's got a lot of dark stones, black stones around there that can, shut down the horizontal threat. But he's got to start. He's got to start making things a little more forcing. That's the only way he's gonna try to hold on to things.
He'll have to develop it further.
Yeah. Um, and what is his move here, really? If he goes F1, he's basically claimed the entire column for himself, and that makes horizontal threats a lot harder for Turing in the future. But like, it's easy to shut down. He could try taking E2, and like he wins that trade, but at the same time he also gains 3 captives, and he leaves his cap out in the middle of nowhere, which is potentially more damaging than the captives are.
Well,
we might.
He's got the capture option of E3 to E2.
Yeah, that is an option. Oh, and he goes D5.
Interesting. That's nowhere near the action we were looking at. He took a lot of time on that move, too. I'll point out he's only got 1239 left. Not a big problem, but that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can try to put that move into context. So, Kak, in advance, sees that his road threats are killable. So what he has to do is he has to now think further into the game than making a road threat immediately. Because forcing is not going to be beneficial to him right now. He loses the forcing exchanges in the end. And he winds up without a strategy. So instead he sees, okay, what's Turing preparing for in the long run? And how can I disrupt that? How can I get some pieces in that area of the board while also keeping them relatively connected to what I have now so that I don't overplay? So that's what D5 is, because it says, I see this diagonal threat developing, and I'm going to get in there.
Yeah. And Turing accordingly with the immediate move to strengthen his ranks in the center. Now he has B4 and C5. Oh, and Kakaburra just goes for the threat. No problem.
All right,
easy
so he's
as pop.
Threatening.
Well, because if he doesn't threaten, then we get scarily close to a Turing threat. Actually, is what happens.
I think Kakaburra made the threat because he wants Turing to get out of the center so that he can start moving into the center. This isn't the threat that he expects will pan out to an exchange to win.
Right. Thing is, though, Turing has the wall, which he can move sideways or down.
Right.
So and avoid leaving.
That's an important question. I think he doesn't. I think he'll know better than to take the bait.
Which one is bait in this case?
So the bait, I think, is E4, the attackable stone, the one that Turing has already got a pincer on. And does he move the cap or does he move the wall?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I were Turing, I would move F4 to F3 right now because that does take care of the threat. Without also exposing to immediate rethreat, I guess. And then I can move over to E3 and continue to dismantle that road.
Yeah, he can do some sucking up with the wall.
Because I mean, oh, okay, so he doesn't do that. He would rather place than take. It's a good general strategy. I wonder if it will. Because Kakaburra, I mean, he's got the obvious threats on C and D1. He's got mad island potential on F and on F5 and E6. That was a really confident flat from Turing. Yeah, man. So here we got also.
So Kakaburra here.
Jesus. Yeah.
What if
so
we get
like
F2 to E2? That's pretty much gotta force the wall or cap move.
Right. That is the threatening one. And he does win that trade.
Kakaburra in the long run, though. Kakaburra gains no long-term strategic potential out of an immediate forcing move. I think he knows that.
Yeah, and
Well,
he goes for it
okay,
on B1.
he's making the threat again.
Yeah.
That's
mean,
that's definitely a better way of doing it rather than a capture, lay a flat.
I mean, he's playing white. Like, that's what you got to do. And see, now we go on.
I suppose we have to see f4 in response.
Yeah, I'm looking at f4.
Yeah.
Either that, or this is the beginning of the horizontal bottom road attack, in which case we see b2 or somewhere in a1 to a3.
Yeah, I would kind of like. I think I would kind of like. Yeah, well, something in that corner, b2, a2, etc.
I would be a fan of even b3 right now.
Yeah.
It's a very developed corner. There's a lot of strategic potential for white in the long term, but if he plays a little bit the middle towards the A and B columns, then he can also start to make inroads on Turing's long-term strategic assets.
Yeah. It's not looking like f4. Because the wall can pretty easily do away with that whole thing faster than he can.
If he plays the flat there, the wall could ostensibly hit it, but then this kind of sets up, a capture fault. Where
so what I'm afraid of on Turing's behalf is, So anyway, so we see c1, but the reason that Kakaburra can't play f4 is because the wall can capture downward, and that prevents d2 to the right from connecting to form a road, right? So it actually moves the road two turns further off.
You could see the cap action, because the cap can move from c2 to d2, and then it's in a position to move, carry a soldier with it.
Yeah, the effect of it is though the road gets further away.
Yeah.
And so now we're actually Turing has the entire diagonal line here.
Yes, he does.
And he is. I bet he's eyeballing multiple squares along in this B column there. Yep, there it is. And Kakaburra knows what that means. So I wouldn't be surprised if he saw his cap move this turn. C3. Or even D2. And threatening some kind of future flattening action. Because, the because of it is obvious. Turing is gearing up for a very contentious threat here, and Kakaburra is working hard on what the best way to counteract that would be. My money's on the cap, honestly.
Cap to... What do you like in D2?
Well,
or you think he's just going to do...
cap D2 is a good long-term move. I'm not sure if Kakaburra has the luxury of planning long-term, right? He's already got this huge thing to contest with.
I think Kakaburra made a mistake very early on in that first capture, because now he's materially behind Turing on the board, and it really shows. So I think that he necessarily has to play a flat somewhere, because the material disadvantage can become overwhelming in the later game. The question is where, and where will be the most useful to him. I wouldn't be surprised to see B2 shaping up, simply because that horizontal road threat is probably his best bet. Even though it's attacked easily, setting it up means that Turing has to stop doing what he's currently doing, and it can disrupt Turing's momentum, which is the important part for Kakaburra to reclaim the game.
Yeah, so I see that.
Well, I just did a quick count, and because of the wall move, they are actually still in line with white going first materially.
And he goes f4. There he goes on it. Interesting.
Yep.
So that points me to D2 later on for Kakaburra. He's looking to get that cap in later. It's not definite, but it also doesn't do anything for AlphaTac's plan, which was, to aggress his way out of the impending darkness, which, you know, it's really scary. Everyone is afraid of the dark, and I would be too if I were Kakaburra.
Depends on where I am, but anyway.
Batman versus Superman in this game.
So,
well, Turing is obviously going to be 4 or B5 right here. Like, there's no other move for him.
you don't think he worries about blocking at all in the upper right? I mean, he could throw a wall down on something like F5, and that would, you know, he'd own. Okay, nope, he's moving. I say that would own that corner.
Yeah,
There'd be no more vertical threat.
Do you remember before when I was like, Kakaburra can't do F4 because his wall can just move downward?
Yep.
It happened.
It happened. Yep.
Man, I always feel like such a jerk commenting on these games because things that seem obvious to us are actually not apparent to the players. And I've been a victim of this myself, like
Definitely.
watching my games over again. It's like, why did he do this thing? Is he a moron? Like, has he had a stroke? No, it's just the pressure. And
Well, I'd also like to note that by comparison to the players who are currently playing, in respect to them, I'd like to note that they're very high-level thinkers. When they play a game like this, they have some strategic considerations to which we're not privy here in the Peanut Gallery. So,
yeah,
you know,
obviously they're
a bit of thinking that we're right, and then we might see our suspicions borne out later when they choose a move. We don't actually know that our reasons for selecting the move align so well with their reasons. They could be thinking,
Right.
you know, much further ahead than we are.
True.
Yeah. Still, I think B2 would. Well, I don't know. The threat that he's got going now, Kakaburra, I should say, vertically, it's not bad. It's just worse than good. And Turing.
So let's say that the response is going to be something like d4 to the right. And I think the reason he wants to get that cap action on the white stones here, it's twofold. One, again, Turing likes to have total board control. He has the diagonal now, but he hasn't really branched off of the diagonal yet, and I think it's time to start doing that. And this white group over here in the corner on the D to F 4 to 6 region, that's prime for attacking because it looks a little threatening. It could develop further. So I think he wants to attack now, but he also wants to make inroads, make a beachhead for his road threats. And that's where I think the cap.
Yeah, the cap was looking really good next to the wall. Right now, it's looking more like well, you know, honestly, he's obviously worried about Kakaburra C2 to D2 with that threat there.
Yeah. There's
and
the wall. All right.
So worried in the fact that he plays another wall, which, by the way, I also predicted. Just saying. Consult me for socket. And there's C2 to D2. I did so poorly.
Please don't miss this. Please don't miss this.
There's no way he misses that. Oh my god.
So I gotta confess, this is a very strange game for Turing. F5 down, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be it.
I'll be very curious to know if he offers any post-game analysis on this particular sequence of moves here.
He probably will.
I don't know how he could resist, honestly.
Oh boy. What is this? What's the word for back and forth that isn't back and forth because back and forth sounds terrible?
A shuffle.
Shuffle? No, like a series of grape shots from both sides. A repartee? What a repartee? Banter? I guess it's not banter.
Sure.
A duel. What a duel.
A duel. Sure. That'll work.
But it's like, what? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not very verbally today. He appears to be considering things other than F5 down, which confuses me.
Yeah.
So I have to confess, Turing has a longer-term strategy here. I think that we've seen him make some mistakes, which I find
say. Maybe E3 plus? Like what?
E3 up, you're thinking? Yeah, that's something I consider, because then that does give him that complete control over the vertical.
It also kind of gets the, I mean, the problem with that is there's a stack of 3 captives, and the cap can just nosy on over to E2 and put those captives right on the menu. Like, it's not looking good.
That's true. But even if he
Look at their
doesn't do
timer.
that, there are still 2 captives there currently, so...
Maybe F1 plus? Are we just listing off all possible moves that he could take at this point? I guess so.
Well, at this point, he's thinking long enough that...
he's
This actually
under
worries me.
Oh, and he does go with E3 plus. There.
Okay, all right. He went up there, took all those stones with him.
Oh. Well.
So, Kakaburra's gotta... You'd think he gotta bring his cap to E2, right?
Well, no, actually. He has several options here, right?
Well, he has options, but I mean, you're thinking that threatening that stack with his capstone would be possibly one of the better threats.
That is the threat that has the highest chance of making Turing change his pants. And it doesn't matter whether he leaves any behind or not, because there is a nice little captain there waiting to carry the cap all the way over to E4. I mean, like, there are better and worse ways of doing it, but, like, any way about it, Kakaburra has a path to that stack in 2 turns. Now, I'm sure Turing knows this and has planned for it in some fashion, but his only defense against that is moving it again or placing a wall on E3, and if Kakaburra places on E3, then that's not possible. You know, or I mean, hell, Turing could flatten E4 preemptively with his own cap.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as a possibility. If Kakaburra does try to threaten that stack, Turing could just jump on there himself to keep it all safe.
So Turing might. So Kakaburra actually moves up, which good move actually, because it resists the temptation of the giant cream sandwich, which I always applaud. Resisting temptation, because I can never do it.
Yeah.
And B, breaks up this center fortress that Turing's got going on, and while it does kind of dismantle Kakaburra's horizontal presence, he is on a hard stack right now, or hard cap. It's a soft stack with a hard cap. So he's relatively advantaged here. Now, what's Turing's play here, do you think?
Well, I don't see any nearby road threats coming out of Kakaburra here.
No.
There's things he can do that will be mildly troublesome, but I think it's probably just time to start building some more for Turing.
Yeah.
Honestly, the whole left edge of the board is super empty. He might think about laying some flats in that direction. Oh, no, he's D2. All right.
So Turing's saying, I know I'm behind, but I'm preventing any chance you have to get further ahead. Because D2 is an important square for Kakaburra. And without it, he can't really connect any of his pieces to form a block.
Position, which is to keep this diagonal connection. And there's very little that Kakaburra can actually do to disrupt it at this point, because he doesn't have enough pieces in the region to accomplish that.
Yeah.
Turing is betting that this diagonal group is eventually going to make paths to roads. I don't think he sees it immediately.
Yeah.
Well, that is definitely one thing I'm just noting here, that if you look the way that Turing has his cap and his walls now, he's cordoned off 4 of Kakaburra's pieces up at the top right that are not participating either in an attack or in a road.
Right.
And so
yeah,
that does focus things on the bottom right now.
With Kakaburra kind of countermanding that little spiteful D2 over there. And if it's spiteful or perspective, what does it matter? It was aggressive in some way. And now it's going to be harder to make that happen. Of note, Turing's cap is also kind of neutered, because it can only move in 3 directions, and really only one of those directions is productive.
So I think
wonder if he
Turing
thinks
we're going to see some more effective pins coming along. He wants to keep things kind of paralyzed on Kakaburra's end, which he can do effectively by finishing the pin with a stone at A5 or B6, or possibly at E3. That doesn't quite finish the pin, but it's an interesting move. It makes it harder for Kakaburra to move around in there. Because all of Kakaburra's negative space can become Turing's positive space.
Yes, that C2, that did not feel like a very offensive move. That looks like he's trying to just stay in the way of Turing's
that was a stall, total.
I wouldn't be surprised if from Kakaburra what we're going to see as the next move is moving on to C3 and try to make a road that runs through Turing's pieces to connect back up to the D6, D5 stones.
Okay, so you're thinking C1 up through like C5.
So the C2 move that we saw is sort of offensive because it's lining up for an assault. It's not quite an assault, though.
Oh, all right. B2 from Turing.
Probably sensing this.
Weird.
Well, he's looking to win C2, obviously.
Yeah.
Let's say 4 D3 to the left, maybe next, to keep back the attack on C2 and set up the vertical assault.
Yeah.
You saying D3 to the left?
Yeah, I think that's possible. I think that's a contender here.
You think he'd take the whole stack with him?
Indeed.
So I might. Oh yeah, because E3, Kakaburra essentially owns it, but he doesn't actually own it. And I wonder if he wants to. So Kak is actually he's spread a little thin here, because if he sets on E3, then Turing can take B2 or B1. Turing can take B1 and kind of shut down that easy road threat for Kak. But if Kakaburra goes on B1, then Turing can set on A2 and there's a road threat. What's going to happen? We don't know. So it's like you were saying, Turing is absolutely drawing this out, and like a war of attrition here. Like there's no easy way out, but there's also like sacrifices made on both sides to keep this siege war going. So like they're both yes, they're staring at each other. Neither one of them pulling the trigger. The
We are only 18 moves in. Each
Yeah.
Look at their
player's
timer.
about 5 or 6
Players-
minutes.
Gee, we might run out of time this game. Oh God.
That would be highly unlikely. I think it would be more likely for someone to make an error somewhere under time pressure.
Yeah. The real question is, what will Kaka do with his capstone? Because any choice he makes, obviously it has cascading effects. Like attack is the game of playing with stacks. What are you gonna do?
So I think moving that
and-
whole stack over to the left is his only way to attack both of Turing's threats at once, because it
Yeah.
disrupts the bottom horizontal attack, and it also puts him in play to disrupt the diagonal attack.
And it also puts him in position to make vertical threat by placing on C5.
Yeah, so if he moves his cap and that stack left to C3...
Oh, well, I guess then Turing can just place on D3, right? And has his own threat. Or
Well,
two of his
yeah.
own threats.
Yeah,
But
I was gonna say
that's
he could place
disruptive.
on D3 or like A5, but if he does that, then Kakaburra's got just his cap up to C4,
Hmm.
and then he's making a threat. But of course, then that'll can be blocked on C5. But
Yeah, it can be blocked.
But at the very least, he would be forcing the sequence at that point, and he would have, he would have tempo.
yeah.
Yeah.
What
Kak
I'm wondering about
understand.
here is if Kakaburra moves that cap stack to C3, what if Turing then just captures B2 to C2?
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Ah.
I mean,
he would,
then
he would see something like C1 up as a response.
Sure, but then say you get like a D2 to the left on top of there. Then he's got to bring the capstone down,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
And-
kind of...
Oh, we have a move.
Look,
Yes, we
B1.
do have a move. B1.
B1. There's
All right,
a...
so I think Kakaburra thinks that the vertical threat doesn't work out, and is going to try
Yeah.
to attack on the horizontal bottom instead. But I don't think this is
Right.
going to succeed.
We finally see A5
Yep.
from Turing.
This
He's
is,
been waiting
This is tight.
for so long.
But from Kakaburra not doing something to attack that threat.
Yeah, I would have suspected Kakaburra had a counter plan, but
Well, Kakaburra has plenty of ways to disrupt this threat.
yeah. So there.
B1 plus.
The other
Okay.
one would be something like D1 up, or
Yeah,
F2 left. There are counterattacks here. There are ways to cut this.
there are counterattacks, and it looks like he went for maybe the safest one, but
It's just that now he's completely pinned there.
relatively safe as it may have been. Like I'm a lot more scared of Turing now than I was 2 turns ago.
Yeah, so just Turing E3, is that a square he wants to take? I don't know how much he can hold on to it, but
I don't see him getting much of a benefit out of it. If he wants a pin, he already has a pin on
Yeah.
D right now.
All right. Yeah. Now Kakaburra might.
D1.
Yeah. So Turing's like, I don't care what you do, because I can take this, and your only backup take exposes you to counterattack. What we might see out of Kak here is maybe A2, although I haven't like cascaded that one out there. I don't know if it's instant death.
I like that. Yep, A2.
Yeah. So that's
Kakaburra
the
is
only
making
way.
under the gun here.
Turing had it.
Ooh.
There's the plan.
This one is very bad for Kakaburra, because that wall is not defensive. That's the sort of wall that Turing puts down. Do you guys ever have one of those Lego piece removers with a Lego kit?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine Turing uses walls like one of those things. You drop it on top of on top of enemy stacks that have captives, and then you peel off the enemy flats. The captives come. That's what Turing does. I saw him use that as a very powerful attack against me actually in my game with him, and I'm not
And
surprised.
he used this in the last game he played just before this tournament one, so.
You were watching some
Kakaburra.
warm-ups, huh, Dove?
Yeah, I was.
2:50 on the clock.
Yeah, Kakaburra's gonna have to start moving a bit quicker.
Man on the old gum tree.
We see E3 now. I think we have to. I don't know that there are any other moves that Kakaburra can convincingly make.
Yeah, I mean E3. It's a threat. It's some consolation to him that he has threats at this stage in the game. Is it sustainable? No. Will it survive past the following move? No. But he,
Down to time.
And just in case anybody watching is considering it, Kakaburra's capstone is pretty much, it's pinned here. He cannot go left and flatten that wall to try to save anything.
No, but interestingly, he could take just the capstone itself and go left with that and leave the white and two black captives underneath.
He could try that. That would be, I would consider that fairly thin, though. That would be right. He'd be right on the edge of danger there.
I mean, yeah, because then black
Already is.
down.
True.
Well, so if he does it, then it lets him then afterwards hoover up some pieces on Turing's upper diagonal, which might be his best shot at staying in the game.
Possibly.
You got a
The
point there.
And then on the
You know,
next
it
turn,
might be
and then on the next turn, possibly a B4, and then
it might be worth letting
Approaching a minute here.
Turing have those two captives just to stay in the game, right? Because obviously it's never a good thing to have your opponent a giant stack of captives and a capstone, but like
not a lot of options
down
here.
the wire like this, yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't be terribly surprised to see a resignation at this point.
Yeah.
It could be. Oh,
Oh, look at
making a
that!
threat. All right.
That is a threat. And
That is a threat.
None of us saw that.
But, well, it's so easily shut down. I mean, he just moves B3 down, right?
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
it's what he wanted to do anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's that kind of thing where it's just, I mean, I guess it's a threat, but the response... Yeah, there. Done. There's no other way to connect that horizontally.
Yeah, but also
It does... Now he does get to have... Insert a move here. Do you
I'm
need
not,
walls, or...
Another one.
there's a wall.
Alright, walling himself.
That's not a good play.
Panic
I
play,
think
maybe?
he's going to play to take with the cap, to crush that wall with his cap.
I was thinking the same thing, like little cap action there for Kakaburra, but apparently he has something else in mind. On the bright side, he's back over a minute. Let's see if he does anything with it.
Yeah.
Maybe the wall.
I'm sure he
moves
knows
up before.
less than 30 seconds.
No, but even that's not very profitable.
Yeah, he playing it out in his mind.
Oh, come on, Kakaburra! 40 seconds!
All right.
Ooh,
Okay.
He's gonna fight for it. He's gonna lose, but he's gonna fight for it.
Well, I would hope so. I would not definitely say he's going to lose. I mean, it doesn't look good, but strangeness can happen.
Well, the thing is, there's nowhere that he can connect his roads, because Turing has cut him off with this great wall from B2 to F5. There's only one point of connection through which anything runs, and it's a black road. And Kakaburra's cap, unfortunately, is utterly pinned. It can't crush any of those walls. There is no way out.
D3 to the right, maybe?
Oh my god, I'm getting a software update.
Wrong timing.
Wait,
oh my god.
You don't want security? Are you some kind of heathen? Do you want hackers to access the social security number?
Oh,
Yes. They can have my security number.
Just never make me update again.
all right.
Yeah.
What?
F3.
Okay.
Confused.
This is not going to be good. I mean, I'm looking at E4 down to, like you said, use that Lego remover wall.
There we go. Yep.
Yep.
On
There you
schedule.
go to
On schedule.
So now,
Green-
like,
Green is
just the
interesting.
capstone. Oh, okay. He
That
he
is
messed
a
up.
losing move.
Yeah,
That-
technically it's a convincing mess of things down here for Turing, but I think Turing has the ability to actually place.
Oh, he wins
Oh.
right now.
Game's over.
Oh, that's
oh
true.
no.
Yep. Turing is being
Oh, no.
exceedingly polite. He is checking just that was not a misclick.
Yep, that's actually.
I was going to say that what I can see for Kakaburra's defense here would be to move just the capstone back up to D3.
Yeah, so that was.
And
Yeah.
That would hold it for at least a few moves, but...
Mm.
Wow.
And
He could
Kakaburra's-
also move-
he said he missed
could
that
also
one,
move
take it.
the-
So...
Right. And
Right.
can I just say that, as mentioned in the beginning of the game, the B5 stone was indeed part of the final road.
These.
Granted, that was an easy bet to make. That was a very easy bet to make because I think most people from watching Turing's games could be able to predict that basically every stone that he puts down on the board is likely to be a part of his road.
if you let him, every single stone on the board would be part of the road. It will zigzag up and down.
Exactly,
almost like-
exactly.
It's almost like when you put pieces on the board.
There's one
Hey,
flat stone.
Asgard, I'm completely losing you. I can't hear you at all.
I said it's almost like when you put pieces on the board, they do things. Who would have thought?
Right, but you know, I think it's the Turing specialty that right now he has exactly one flat on this board that's not a part of his final road.
Yeah, that he's in control of at any rate.
Yeah, that he's in control of.
Yeah. There's like 5 flats and then 3 walls, but your point is made.
Yeah, well, that was a fantastic game 1. That was really, really great play. I mean, Turing doing what he does best, building positionally, just controlling kind of the whole board in general, and then using that to his advantage. And Kakaburra played really well. I mean, it seemed like he just barely let that lead, the white advantage slip at the beginning, and he held off really well, and he kept in there.
And they both made mistakes.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if anyone else is surprised by that fact, but like I didn't think either one of these guys could make mistakes, and they both did it. Like I have to revise my definition for what an artificial intelligence is, because I had been basing it off of these guys' performance in the game of TAC. But like, wow.
They passed the Turing
I think
test.
that things that we view as mistakes were in fact quite intentional. I'm willing to give it to Turing that what I thought was a mistake with his double wall play in the D to F area. I thought that those 2 walls were making some mistakes, but it actually took up a ton of White's material strength and put it under some walls, and that might have paid off in the long run. And he might have correctly assumed that White would not chase the rabbit, go after the fat stack. It wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually it's other people going after the white rabbit, but not this time. Also, Turing's cap didn't move the entire game.
Yeah,
It's-
you're right.
But it's still part of the road.
I
It was
want
just
to
sitting there in the middle.
This is part of what I thought of as some very early TAC theory, which is that you don't use the cap as a vehicle, you use it as an anchor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely a way that I think, as going second as black, that it's sometimes a little bit necessary of a way to use the cap.
Yeah.
That it's such a powerful way to get yourself presence on the board.
It can't be captured. And like, as the responsive player, any advantages you can get in terms of influence you will take. And so, like, I absolutely got to say, it paid off this game. And yeah, so in chat here, logical oxymoron. I think he hits it on the head. Move 6 with Kakaburra's capture, D3 down. Like, we all kind of scratched our heads at that.
Yeah.
It seems to have precipitated some awkwardness that condensed into difficulty, which is a fancy
saying. And Kakaburra did not get anything out of that exchange.
Yeah. The one of the things about white is a lot of times the onus is on you to take advantage of the negative space in the board, by which I mean, like, here at round 6 we have all of B, most of F and A, and about half of C, D, and E that have not been claimed by either player. And like, the move space is huge, and Kakaburra decides to constrain his move space to making a capture when, like, he also had a ton of flat placements at his disposal. And, like, I'm not saying every one of those flat placements is good, but as Turing demonstrates in the very next round, like, B5, it seems far away. And you know, there were doubters in this commentative peanut gallery. But it ended up paying off. So if anyone out there actually plays the game, and if anyone out there who plays the game ever plays white, you need to keep in mind that placing is your advantage in the early game. Like, it is your advantage.
Yep.
You get to decide where things build first. And if you don't take advantage of that, you're not playing TAC. You're playing...
Well, you're in the realm of TAC.
You know,
I mean, it's not like you're playing checkers. Come on.
I want to speak to this a little bit.
You're TAC dice. You're TAC
as you guys may be aware, there was a relatively recent jump in AlphaBot strength. And part of this was because I changed the way that it views the early game so that it has different value functions for white and black.
Ah.
And so what it thinks now for white is that capturing is terrible. Basically, don't capture unless it's so absolutely necessary that you have to.
Sure.
For black, it's capturing's okay. You want to place, but you can capture, because for white in the early game, it's that placement that's its wheelhouse. If it captures at all, then it sets itself
too powerful.
Advantage.
Interesting. So, and that gave you a good jump, you think, in the playing strength?
Yeah. So.
Well, I actually we do need to score this game and then hit a quick intermission before we can get the next one going. The players are taking in their intermission, but so just a quick look here. So Turing takes the game. It looks like he's got 11 pieces left. That brings him a score of 47. So let me go ahead and
that is a number.
Update that info. Turing with 47 points. Oops, and I messed that up. And I will update that bracket as well, but everybody can take be about 5 minutes intermission here, and then we'll be back for game 2, where Turing does have the opportunity to go first.
Oh boy.
Do we have the option to, like, talk through the break, or is it mics off?
Well, I'm going to take a break.
Yeah. I think if you leave the mics on, we can talk about the bot. I'm interested to hear what's up with that.
All right, cool.
Me too.
I will go ahead and do that. I am going to hop up real quick. Just need to stretch.
Yeah.
But if you
problem.
want to, Alpha Tac, Asgardiator, guys, Dove,
I'm
you have the floor.
All right. Cool.
Dub can talk about the bot she's building.
All right. So okay. So we're staying on the. That's cool.
So you changed the heuristic? Yeah.
Yeah, so I changed the heuristic so that in the early game, like I was saying, white really wants to build up road threats, and black really just wants to make sure that white doesn't run away with it. And so this results in black playing some more scattered pieces, but later on in the game it can bring them together. And this was part of what was a relatively big jump in strength. Up until the most recent ranking update, AlphaBot was sitting at like third place, right under Tactician. But then we had some bot v bot matches last night, and unfortunately the ranks seem to have dropped a little bit. But this is a thing that you can get back to later.
Yeah. Do you have any updates on Tactician Bot for us? You've been working with Nullhage on that?
No. We haven't done any collaborative work.
Oh, it's all competitive.
Sure, but
You academics are so cutthroat. So the really interesting thing about Tactician Bot for me is its approach to power, right? And I've written about this in my guide, which if you haven't read, dear listeners, you can check it out on the RTAC wiki, and I guess RTAC is the TAC subreddit on that website. Anyway, so enough of that. But yes, so the Tactician Bot, most of its power comes from the fact that it looks so far ahead in the game. And like it seems obvious at first, like, well, yeah, if you look further ahead in the game, like you're going to do better. But the secret is that in TAC specifically, looking ahead is essentially the strategy. Because say that again.
Well, so something about TAC that I think sets it apart from like chess, TAC is something of a puzzle game, more so than chess is. Like in chess, a forced checkmate can be many moves away, but in TAC, usually forced endgames are not so far from most positions.
Right. They can sneak up on you.
Forced ends probably within 10 or 15 plies, which means that you have to play exceedingly carefully and think very, very far ahead just to make a move that doesn't guarantee a loss.
Right. We were just talking about how Kakaburra's round 6 move set him up for failure later on. Like first it was a slight disadvantage, and then it was like, a positional quandary, and then it was, inescapable defeat. Like these board positions cascade out in unpredictable ways, very subtly.
A bad move in TAC has almost irreversible repercussions, and your opponent has to make a mistake of equal magnitude for you to come back from it. So I mean, there wasn't a forcing sequence from move 6 onwards that was obvious to anybody. But I'm sure that, at the stage in the game that we saw it develop into an endgame by around 24, 25, Turing was probably seeing the shape of forcing endgame sequences and got lucky that Kakaburra made a mistake he didn't see an even shorter one.
This is yet another game in the tournament, at least, that was won thanks to human error and not a forced win sequence.
Right.
Although I wonder at which point you can discern, like, an immediate forced win from like a more gradual forced win. But anyway, so like Tactician Bot, at first, its way that it figured out how good a game move was, it wasn't super powerful. It was just like territorial. Like, can I win these trades? Yes, I'll move here. Like, do I have a large blob? Yes, I'll move here. And even using that extremely simple rule set, which I'm sure Nullhage can talk about later at some point, if he talks at all. I'm not sure he's not a computer, even though I've met him in real life. Right? He could be an android. But even using that extremely simple move value function, by virtue of looking, how many was it at that time? Like 7, 8 moves ahead, it could foresee like all of the most likely moves that you would make and still choose its best position using that terrible value function, and it would still win like 90% of the time against human players. And this is because TAC, like
when Tactician came on to playtac.com, it thought 5 plies ahead.
Right.
It searched step 5. when it got a little more
Right.
advanced, it surged to depth 6, and then to depth 7, and now it no longer has a fixed depth to which it searches. It just has a fixed amount of time in which to search. And according to Nelhage, it now hits somewhere between depth 7 and 9 fairly reliably on almost every move. In about
9 moves ahead.
So
the human brain has a
9.
working memory of, 3 to 5, 3 to 8. Like, most people can hold 3 to 8 things in their head at any given time. Imagine trying to think of more things than you've ever thought of at once in your life, over and over, thousands of times in a row, and you'll have an idea of what Tactician Bot is doing every turn in order to find the best move. And then it makes the best move, and you have to somehow beat that move with an equal or better move or lose in the future.
All right, guys,
Like,
I am back. It sounds like you
hear
had
you.
no problem filling the time.
I mean,
We're good at filling that. We're talkers.
All right, cool. You may continue for a few moments here. I'm going to check if the players are ready.
So my last comment on the subject of AI is just that, well, the way the tactician thinks is very different from the way the human thinks, because the human can immediately discard most bad moves and knows that there's no future in them, there's no potential whatsoever. And so the human doesn't even bother to explore those branches of the game tree, whereas tactician has to examine them and has to think about them. So tactician has to do a lot more work to get a good move out than a human does. The thing is, tactician certainly has better focus in that it can think further ahead and it can make more comparisons than a human could reasonably be expected to make. That's the great advantage of a thing like tactician. It has brute force on its side. And of course, because it can think so far ahead and guarantee that it's going to pick a move that doesn't lead to a loss, for the next 8, 9 moves, then if you want to force it into a position where it's going to lose, you have to prepare a scenario for you that's going to lead to victory as a guarantee 10, 11 moves out. And few people can plan that far ahead. It's very difficult to attack.
Yes, agreed.
How are the players doing, Ben?
I am waiting to hear if they are both back. They did ask about taking an intermission as well. Turing said that he wanted to take a break. He said, let the streamers rest their voices while I work off this adrenaline. So clearly a tense game for him.
Glad to hear he's feeling excited. I think
we're still waiting on them to get completely back at this point. So. Never mind. He's
wondering how
back.
Tech's doing.
They are setting up the game, so we'll be ready to start momentarily. And I'm really sad I didn't get to hear my happy little music in the intermission.
You'll be okay. You'll be all right. And I mean, maybe in later tournaments you'll be able to play that song again. So it's not a complete loss.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. I don't know if maybe I'll have a different theme song. But so it looks like the game is set up. So are you guys all ready? Game 2. Kakaburra's got to make a comeback here.
I'm definitely ready. Ready, excited.
For a match to go one, it would be this time. The final round.
It should. That's just good television, right?
If I was Kakaburra, I would be. I got to admit, I'd be quaking in my boots a little bit here. But
Kak hasn't been able to play Takken for like 2 weeks, so.
Yes, that is one thing that we didn't talk about. That apparently Kakaburra did have limited, if any, time to practice since the last round. So that may be coming back to bite him a bit. But I have no doubt that he's still a strong player.
One fell swoop. As you know, skill builds up over time, and if you wait to release it, it's more powerful. It's like charging a Kamehameha. What? This is science. You can look this shit up.
Yeah, is
Huh.
is well documented science.
That's the first time I've seen Turing make that opening on a 6x6. Normally
Alright.
he extends it out to something like e4, but
Indeed, that's
Interesting.
very timid for Turing, but I have no doubt that he'll come up with some horrific and frightening, compensation shortly after.
And then they also went opposite corners.
These openings,
That, of course, was Kakaburra's choice to go opposite corners.
they're too next level. Here we go.
Well, it's possible that the opposite corner's starting position negates the possibility of that diagonal kind of attack.
That's true.
But I don't know how much that really helps because it allows for other kinds of attacks. I think the diagonal may be a little easier to hit, and I don't think Kakaburra realized quite what was happening until it was a little too late.
Again,
maybe
with the
he's a
cap
custom-
center square, Mr. T.
another 4. It's always in the 4.
Turn 4 capstone. All right. Everybody watching, that's the new meta, right? Early caps. I think we're going to see a lot of that on the Playtech
It's been part of the
website.
meta for a while, honestly.
Well, yeah, for a lot of people, but
I'd like to
Earlier
say
the
that
better.
Plot was the first champion of the early cap, if anyone remembers.
yes, I do
Oh, yeah.
remember. I remember.
I remember being pissed off unusually much at that because it was so good. And
I'm
I
remembering
hated
turn 2 caps. That's what I'm remembering.
Well, that corner square is a really important trade.
I think we see A6 from Turing at this point because now he wants to get something on that A column. Oh, A3 instead. Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is
yeah.
interesting.
Isolating
I don't know
those
if-
black stones there.
I don't know if he should let Kakaburra have access to A6 because, I don't know. It don't sit right with me. Oh, and then the cap actually comes out in that little corner nook, preventing Turing from connecting the large blob. Fascinating.
Maybe
Um,
maybe no.
So Turing is not looking to take here, but he does. I was gonna say,
Boom.
but it wouldn't be terrible if he did. Not to seem like I'm retconning, but I was literally about to say those words. And Kakaburra takes 2, which is weird.
This is
Yeah,
a very
faster.
different game from the last
This is
one.
extremely aggressive,
Yeah.
and this is being played fast.
I love this.
I don't know how much I like this because this to me feels very dangerous for Kakaburra. These are hard attacks to kind of to come back from. You have to play the situation out very carefully. And when you're playing fast, you feel a pressure to play fast, and that means you play bad sometimes.
Hard
So I
attacks
want-
and hard.
I hope it takes the time here.
Yeah, this is
Or-
the
or
time to
make some
think.
usual
They've got
creative-
plenty of time.
Oh well, time
I-
in the clock sense, but in the
Fine.
turns sense, Kakaburra is staring into the jaws of death right now.
It's even making a smiley face
Yeah.
on my board.
I want to see a.
Yeah, B6. I don't think that was the one that you said, AlphaTac.
No, I said F5.
Yeah, you definitely didn't say that one. Why did he do that? Can he not hear you?
B5 up here?
I mean, Turing is not in the capturing mood, man. Like,
No,
do you-
that's true.
he-
C6, yeah.
he,
Oh,
yeah,
never mind.
see, he's
E6. All right.
placing. He's
Well-
doing the white player thing, and he's placing like a good white player. Like,
This is a very aggressive assault. I'm astounded that it's finding purchase. I think we see 2b4 plus as the counterattack, and I think that can actually stop it. But even so, that's a very powerful group of white stones that just exists now. And then the attack will continue, down from C5 to C3, and then from
Another
C3.
diagonal.
Yeah, it's still in general kind of like in building a diagonal-ish threat.
it keeps happening.
Yeah, it does keep happening.
These stairs.
Yep. All right. So he's
Yeah.
getting the cap in the way.
Now we see, I think, C3, C4, or B3 in response. Maybe or maybe even A2.
You're looking literally on that diagonal.
Yeah, I would. I'm also going to throw A2 out there as a possibility because otherwise it's vulnerable to being pinced.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking here that if it doesn't materialize as a threat too quickly for Turing, Kakaburra does have a slim chance to be slightly threatening along the A file.
Yeah, which A2 would also do a decent job of stopping.
Yeah.
Or Turing could make a really unusual play, in his style and go somewhere in that untouched.
Yep, I'm call E2. That's my call.
You think E2?
I would, yeah.
I would say E3 if he's going to play in that area. E2.
I was thinking of random throwaway moves that I would say as
Nope.
jokes. E2 is right up there.
Yep.
He's going straight for the attack.
In keeping with the
So he's gonna force Kakaburra to respond to the oncoming road threat.
of which there is another one, fresh out the kitchen.
Oh, that might not have been the best response. B3 in response, perhaps, to this? B3.
Yeah, B or C3. Although B3 is good, it doesn't allow for the 4 stack or the 4 clump. The tetromino.
Tetromino.
The Z tetromino. Yes, it doesn't allow for that. Although I guess it's more of a
It stops black from connecting and making a threat out of that configuration of stones.
Although, like, TBH, I don't think Turing is too worried about black connecting. Like, he's driving on Easy Street right now. That said,
I'm still
easy
like
as the
in
street,
B3.
like D4 Plus is a stalling tactic. It exists. It's last ditch effort, but it is there.
I think we see C3 next as a move.
Yeah. This is tack. So, like, there are a set of moves that will keep the game going, and there are a set of moves that will instantly end the game.
Yeah. So, well, D4 plus. So the D4 plus I don't think quite works because then you have E5 left, and then connect them back on either D6 or E5 again on the next turn.
Yeah. And you never want to opt into letting your opponent have a stack, even if it's only 2 zone pieces.
Oh, there we go. Wall. All right.
Yeah. Just crush the wall.
I had a sneaking suspicion we were going to see a wall this turn, because flats are well and good, but when it's life and death, you ain't want to be placing no flats in then sensitive squares.
And Turing immediately responds. He was expecting that, it looked like. He responds at D3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's that vertical threat coming over to play. Hey, guys, it's me. Be afraid.
And he can make that threat along D3 there. Really, because despite the wall being next to it, that wall's very pinned. It's not coming over there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also liable to get squashed pretty soon here, based on
could be
the look on that white cap's face. He ain't
what
afraid.
skin are you using for playtech?
Well, funny that you mentioned skin. Kakaburra's
like
Please
flash colored pieces.
Please don't take this joke any further than it has to
all
go.
right, guys. All right.
I'm imagining like a Rick and Morty set of pieces where they're all alive.
Frostberg Jack. Oh God. They're like
All right,
swearing at you.
Let's make this board. What do we think that Kakaburra is going to... Oh, and we actually have a response immediately. We have E3. So...
What? I'm not too...
I don't know.
Let's say B4 plus from Turing. I think Turing is going to just press the assault, and I don't know that there's anywhere that Kakaburra can really go with it in response.
You mean B3?
He said.
Yeah.
He said. Yeah.
Yeah, B3 up.
B3.
Yep.
Yes.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
He's sticking with his plan.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good plan.
Yeah, it's a pretty good plan. He's got so many avenues of threat in this game. It's incredible.
Okay, you know what's an interesting tack threat here from Turing would be C4 to the right.
Yeah, I think that's what he's going for.
He's gonna.
It doesn't quite work though because that E3 stone can go to the left and then it's over. But
not with the D2 stone there.
Yeah, but then the threat is over, right? Because once D2 moves up, then Black can play
Okay.
Yeah, he can get a wall in there, I guess.
Yeah, he could get a wall in there.
Kakaburra decides to take. The response crew are not looking too good here because
What's going on?
Like-
Sorry.
all of the pieces surrounding D3 have no backup.
My
As
Wi-Fi
it
kind
were.
of died.
Oh well, welcome back. Good to have you.
No.
We're watching the cleansing fog purge the world of darkness. And sun's coming up. It looks like.
And Asgardiator, everybody that makes references I'm not totally getting.
Yeah, I also tend to mix metaphors because I guess if the sun was coming up, or if the sun were coming up, it would be like dispersing the fog, which definitely isn't happening. Like there's more and more fog every year. I'm just, I should probably stick with words that correspond to objects, but so this is an interesting little series of moves that we've had happen while we were listening to crazy people blather.
Yes. So I'm seeing here that Turing clearly wants to do like E4 left.
He wants to do a lot of things.
Well,
and
yeah.
basically everything he can do is good for him. And he appears to just be collecting good things. And at some point he's going to cash in, like walk up and say, hey, I'd like to return all these things that I've been building up. And Cax will say, oh, well, no, I guess I can't do anything about that.
Yeah, you're doing it again.
This is who I am. You asked me to commentate.
That's totally cool, man. Totally cool.
People love
All
it.
right.
I get fan mail. No, I see.
You're streaming the next tournament, man. That's it.
All right, so
And there we go. So he walked up to the bank and he said, I want it. D4. He have it. He's taking it.
Yep. All right.
Well, I can't now because if it doesn't take B4,
What Turing saw there, by the way, was Kakaburra's best chance of actually making a rogue threat ran through that D4 stone because it involved somehow getting pieces into play in that little middle area and building a diagonal. But there's too much white presence there to really do.
I don't know if that was too fast or what.
oh god,
I have a feeling we're gonna see.
That was too fast. That is it.
So yes, we do have Turing. He's messaging. So the threat is to go.
Boom.
Never mind. He just he just took it. And Kakaburra just says, "LOL, GG."
LOL.
Nice eloquent response.
Spoken like a true sportsman.
Yes. Wow. That.
He's Louise.
That was the most aggressive game I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like when you see a very strong player go first. You see a relentless assault, and I don't know that there really would have been a way out for Kakaburra, even San's mistake. And Kakaburra is an excellent player. I'd like to just remind the audience that He has played some really spectacular games in this tournament, and
Oh, absolutely.
in general,
One of the highest ranked players.
yeah, one of the highest ranked players in the unofficial rankings.
Second.
The designer of this website, and one of the first people to get involved in the TAC community. Phenomenal player.
Yeah.
And I will note, though, just quickly, if we look at the board, there is only one stone that Turing controls that is not part of the road.
Is this going to become a game now?
Oh no! As it was foretold.
Yes, indeed. I think that was really loud. I think that's a theme. Yeah, that might be something to look for here.
Yep, this is hallmarks of Turing's play.
Incredible efficiency. Yes, that would be what I would note.
Does anyone know if Turing like believes in the afterlife? Like, who does he say prayers to? Because like, I think he might be onto something.
Perhaps the HAL 9000.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm imagining
man.
walking into like a farm and singing Daisy, Daisy, and like in between all your prayers, like have to sing.
All right, well.
When Turing sees the monolith, he sees a giant capstone.
So that is it. That is the end of the final match for the TAC Strategy Summer Invitational. Let me total up the score here. From my count, I'm getting that. Let me make sure I'm counting the right player here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 17 left for Turing. They were very even on that count. 17 left for Turing. What does that give us? 53? 53 points, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh. So, let me just go ahead and update the bracket here. 53. Turing takes the win. And there we have it.
Back to these second games is real, man.
So,
it's over.
It's end here. Let me just see real quick. Let me talk to the players, and perhaps we can get a little post-game interview here.
Please.
I'd really love to have the players on board.
So let me just.
So, what was it like to have your heart to drop out of your chest? Turing,
Well, as soon
is
as
it
Turing started chanting Ali Ma, I kind of knew that it was about to happen.
So is it a rooster under a full moon at midnight, or a black cat on the winter solstice after it's been incubating snake eggs, Turing? Which one for
save these questions, guys. These sound like important issues that we must get to the bottom of.
Well, I mean, it's our obligation to bring the issues to the people. We're journalists, for God's sake.
Yup. Alright, let me see if I can get them on the call real quick. Can I?
We need to speak truth to power, namely arcane power. Namely beseeching them with requests for arcane truths.
Bias, I beseech thee, save it for the interview.
I just want to make sure I'm getting approval from both of them before I pull them on the call. Don't know if they're in a position to talk.
It is kind of late for Turing, at least.
Alright, looks like Kakaburra says he guesses that would be okay. And maybe I'll just pull Turing in.
Might as well.
Alright, let me bring on Kakaburra.
Turing, your prize is your voice in millions of ears.
Well, my Wi-Fi is completely dead. Oh well.
Hi guys.
Hey, Kakaburra.
Hi.
Hey,
Oh,
There he is! The man himself!
messy hair and all. Wow.
Dude.
Alright, and let me grab Turing real quick. He is totally down. So, pull him on the call. So, Kakaburra, that was a really good match. The second game did go very quickly.
Yeah.
But,
That fellow traveler, the captain.
oh, hey, Turing, you're going to have to, I don't know, turn your speakers down or headphones or something.
Okay. Are we doing better now?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, cool.
Good
Yeah,
job to the both of you.
fellas.
And congratulations, Turing. You are the first tax strategy summer invitational tournament champion.
Thank you, Ben. It's quite an honor. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun for me too. I mean, that's why I do this. So, is there anything you guys want to go over? We're talking about your games, obviously, a lot. Is there anything you want to go over? Any memorable moments from either game?
I'm gonna have to look at the PTN. I think of game one.
Yeah.
The move before I won the game two. I was actually I was just looking at it and I was like, you know, that's actually kind of hard to see. I hope he sees it because it's not supposed to end yet.
Oh man. I gotta say, more times games have been screwed up because of like that fellow traveler thing, where you have a stack of like an unfriendly and a friendly.
Yep.
Like, I don't know what it is. People just assume you can't move when you have an unfriendly piece underneath you. It's
Well,
so
you just
hard
don't
to get over.
assume that you're gonna throw a stack like that. It's one of those moves that you wouldn't do unless it actually finished the road, because otherwise you're coughing up prisoners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a sneaky way to win, man.
So
well done.
Before we dive into game two, can we talk about game one a little bit? I actually have a question or two.
Yeah,
That's
go for it.
All right. So, well, first I'd like to say congratulations to both of you for making it to the finals and for playing some spectacular games of TAC in this tournament and in this match.
And in
Turing,
general.
congratulations on your victory.
Thank you.
And Kakaburra, congratulations on some excellent play from you. And just thank you to both of you in general for your contributions to the community and in elevating the game. Now, that said, I'd like to dive a little bit into game one from this match. And I'd like to go. This is a question for Kakaburra. Your placement at move 10, where you played D5. I was wondering if you could shed a little bit of light on that particular choice, because I had an inkling, I think, of what you were trying to do, but I wasn't quite sure, and I'd like to know your thoughts.
I think he dropped out of the call.
Oh, it looks like we
But there he
did
goes.
lose Kakaburra.
He's back.
Oh, you're back. Great.
Hi, okay, Kakaburra, you're back. What was the last thing you heard me saying?
Oh, we lost him again. I don't know if maybe we're not going to be able to get his.
There's something that he's wanting to show video on the call or something. We need to find that or something.
I'm not getting that on my end.
I briefly had some video from him earlier, but it's a shame if the call quality is preventing us from discussing the game in depth.
Perhaps we'll have to do more of a in-depth interview later.
That's possible.
Issues tonight.
I think it's very insightful that you called out that move, Josh. That was one of the ones where I was like, oh, okay, so we're actually slowing things down a little bit. It was the first it didn't actually build a road, it just tried to make a more potent threat.
Oh,
Yeah,
which
it
move
was
is
a
that?
long-term strategy.
I think I missed something.
Oh, Kakaburra, wonderful. We have you back. I was wondering if you could shed some light on your move 10 in game 1, where you played d5. And I was interested to know what you thought the long-term potential in that move was.
I was actually trying to prevent you from playing d5 yourself, so that's why I played a place there.
I see. So you were more worried that I was going to take it, as opposed to the sort of the long diagonal kind of route that ended up.
Yeah, it didn't have much potential for any kind of road. I was just placing some pieces, that's all.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, my interpretation on my side was, so we're kind of slowing the game down a little bit, and developing more longer-term kind of things, and that's sort of why my response was like, okay, I'll just take c4. That seems to link up with my other piece as well. My other thought was that maybe you were trying to get like extra sneaky with your north to south road on E and F by sort of just building it up and ready to spring a trap. And I was just like, all right, well, I've got a wall there. I'm pretty sure I'm safe.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised you played a wall so early in the game.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have been commenting that I'm very free with my walls, and I did feel like the second wall you made me place in game 1. You didn't, like, it wasn't the only move I could have made to stop your road at that point, but that was the first one where I was actually just like, okay, I'm starting to feel like I need to play some catch-up here, which, you're supposed to be playing catch-up as black anyway, but I do tend to feel free about playing roads, especially with the scoring system in mind, like, having those already out on the map, on the board in your back pocket, just like, okay, he has this threat, and what the heck am I supposed to do with it? If you already had a wall out, then you know you just have the option of what to do.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you're feeling like there's not a big detriment to playing walls early, so long as they're
not one or
positionally
two,
useful.
especially when you can sort of weasel them into a spot where it, like, moving it onto e4 from f4 really slowed it. Like, that idea slows down his ability to make a road by like 2 moves, and that's usually what I think is valuable about walls. Is you can get more than one move of slowing them down out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like there's like this concept of obviously, there are some threats where you have to make the move that kills the threat, but when you have multiple choices, you want to make the one that moves the threat further ahead in terms of moves. There were several moves in the games, and forgive me if I forget them exactly, but both players were making the counter threats that basically pushed the opposing roads further off in the future.
Yeah, I feel like in game 1 we actually issued very few tacks on each other. It was always
there
like
were not too many. So one of the things that I've said before about the game of tack is that the vast majority of road threats are very easy to stop. You can see them coming a long ways away, and within 1 or 2 moves, you can pretty much kill the threat. So the benefit of starting to form a threat is more like that it makes the opponent respond. You get this momentum, and then you can start building control on many locations on the board simultaneously, which I think, Turing, has generally been reflected in your strategy, where you like to have multiple threats going on concurrently, because you know that just one alone won't actually pay off.
Yep. That there are multiple ways to phrase it. That is one of the ones that I definitely agree completely with.
So, okay, now back to the game itself. I have a question for Kakaburra. So, going into move 17 in game 1, so Turing just moved, this nice stack of captives under a wall back up to e4, and you have a couple of options here. One of which would have been potentially to pursue that. You could have moved the cap stack onto e2 and set yourself up to attack that stack of captives, potentially gaining it back and making a threat out of it.
Yeah, but he could have captured that stack himself by flattening his wall. So that would have put my cap out of the way, as in out of the center. So I didn't prefer that move.
That makes sense.
Mhm. So I thought by bringing my cap into the center, 3D 2 plus 3, I would be controlling a large chunk of the board or something like that. But I kind of underestimated the potential for this ABC road. So yeah, I think that's where I went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I actually completely agreed with Kak's decision to move the cap on to D3. The reason being that if he had moved to E2, I would have self-flattened my wall with the cap. It's too many to even mess around with. Like the other option is to move it over to like F4 or just let it happen and try to pin the cap somehow. But I don't think I had a good way of actually pinning the cap. It would have just been too risky, I think. So I definitely would have self-flattened. And the reason that I liked D3 so much was because he's sort of like I was interpreting that he was eventually planning to get to E4, but he was going to do it from D3 to E3 to E4, and that what he was trying to do was pin my cap so that I couldn't do the self-flattening move. I think there might have been a point in time where it was actually pinned, so that even if he. I think I could have gotten rid of the pin if he'd moved the cap over to E3. But yeah, I mean, we had the caps next to each other for so long that there were definitely, that was what was worrisome to me, was him getting my cap pinned and then jumping to E3 with his cap in order to flatten E4.
I think the move 18c2 from me, that was a blunder. I think I should have played a wall there. I think that really changed the game.
C2. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, a wall there might have been more useful too in the long run. But this would still have been a very difficult game for you to form a road threat.
Yeah, all my road threats was blocked here.
He still would have had one fewer wall out than me. Like his flat count was doing fine. I think I agree with the wall there being like the better longer term play, whereas C2 was sort of just aggressively trying to find a road when I still had enough solid options to stop them.
All right.
All right.
It was truly a fascinating game on the whole.
Yeah, that was a really good game, and you pushed that pretty close to the end on time there, Kakaburra. I believe you were below a minute. You were like 30 seconds left by the end.
Yeah, I wasn't too worried about the time because I was pretty confident I can play a move in 30 seconds. So.
Okay, great.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah, I actually asked him about that. Because I mean, he missed the road, but I was hoping that it wasn't or I was just curious whether or not it was a time issue that he just, because Kak is very deliberate about his plays, like all through the early game and mid game, and like when you run out of that buffer, sometimes that can change your mentality. But what he told me was, no, that wasn't it at all. It was just he felt comfortable with his time, and just happened to miss something, which happens.
Well, is there anything, moving on to game 2, which I think I still have that one up.
Okay, this game was pretty embarrassing.
Well, it definitely had a sudden end.
Yeah.
Hey,
I apologize for showcasing that, but
there's exactly one other player here who has had an embarrassing second game versus her, and I'm pretty confident he knows how you feel. You just make people so angry, man.
Oh, that's no.
So is that's kind of just a matter of, I guess, Kakaburra, is that just kind of you're trying to get a wall in there, it looked like, to block off that road threat? You're just kind of missed by like you're one step behind on noticing that he had the cap to flatten.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it wasn't tack, like that wall is great because it can, if it shuffles over onto d4, then it's releasing a prisoner. Like I think that's one of the best things that you can do with a wall, is to free prisoners. That's actually how it pays for itself in flat count.
Ah, interesting way to think about it, of like paying for itself that way. Yeah.
Just figure you spend a move to play the wall, a move to move it, and a third move to release the prisoner. And in those 3 moves, you end up with 1 or 2 prisoners of your own. So you're reducing your opponent's flat count by 1 or 2, and you're increasing your own by 1.
Mm-hmm.
So in the case where you, when you move off to free the prisoner, you can actually even get a instead of just neutral off of recapturing a single prisoner, you can even like make it a flat count advantage, although that ends up having the released prisoner is now in control of a prisoner of its own, of the opposite color somewhere.
True. Yeah. Well, I think that's all we need to talk about for the moment. Thank you so much, guys, for jumping on for the quick post-game interview. And, of course, thank you so much to you guys and all the players in the tournament for participating and entertaining us while we watch you try not to blunder.
Dance, monkey, dance.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Do we know when we're going to get the bronze medal match?
I have no idea. We are just still waiting to be able to get those 2 players lined up on a schedule. That I'm not sure exactly where everybody stands on that one. I don't want to go into detail on the air, but hopefully we'll get it lined up eventually. But I do not have any kind of estimated time right now.
Cool.
So
one last shout out for me. In Skippy fashion, I will be launching a blog of my own with like strategy thoughts and whatnot. And I am willing to say that I'm actually going to launch it this Sunday. So
all right.
after that, I'll be posting on Reddit, and I'll put it in the comments on the videos here. And whatnot.
You champion! Yeah, so I was hoping you would
I have
reveal,
credentials
like,
now.
Yeah, wow, you do. And I was hoping you could reveal like which elder god you make sacrifices to, because I'm sure everyone wants to know.
That will be a later post. I'll get into that later. That's a more advanced topic.
Okay. Yeah, we were
just
noting that
stock up on goat's blood.
Yeah, we were noting, Turing, that both of the games ended with you of your stones on the board. Only one of your stones that you were in control of was not part of the board in both cases. It was extremely efficient stone usage.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't actually even notice that. Game 1 was kind of a funky road, right? Because it's like this entirely cross diagonal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever played a game where I got a road like that.
Sorry, I hit the creep. I hear laughter behind you. Do you have an audience? Are you so good that you just make people appear to watch you in real life?
That's just my girlfriend playing Overwatch and ignoring me entirely.
What? Sorry.
Exactly.
There you go. There you go.
That's amazing.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Turing, and congratulations, of course. And Kakaburra, is any last words? Any, I don't know, grand announcements?
Nothing for now, I guess. Yeah.
All right.
Ranked play on PlayTech.
Yeah, no problem.
Playonplaytac.com. That's Kakaburra's site.
Yeah. Peeps. It's been a radical tournament. I've enjoyed discussing things with all you. You're really cool and smart and also talented. And I look forward to doing this again.
Yeah, I hope. The hope is to do this again. I don't know about a timeline, but this tournament did go very well, and I think everybody enjoyed it. So I, at least, will be hoping to be pushing for more tournaments to be run in the future.
Oh man, yeah, no idea.
Yeah, cool. Look forward to it.
Yes. Hopefully, be able to announce some stuff in the next week or so. We'll see. But
Cool.
yeah.
Will that be an open tournament?
Anything going forward, yes, we're working on it right now. We're looking at running an open tournament, would be open for anyone to sign up, and we truly try to determine the best player who can show up and play games. Because half of winning a tournament is just showing up for your games. If you don't show up in an open tournament, you're gonna get disqualified. I can tell you that. We're not waiting for 150 people to take their time and show up whenever they feel like it.
It is very difficult to manage the scheduling for these sorts of things, as we saw in this tournament.
Yeah,
with just 8 people.
This is 8 people, and it was still like at least a dozen emails for each pairing back and forth just to make sure we had it set.
In the real world, this is part of why they have these things in person, because you have a scheduled fixed weekend, and that's the event, and then you all just go and you play the games and you're done.
If you all want to fly out to by me, I would be happy to run it in person.
It would be really spectacular, actually, if there was to be some kind of convention at which we could feasibly host a tournament in the future.
Yep, all things that we hope for and dreamily discuss.
Indeed.
But we have to wait for the future, unfortunately.
Yes. I think we can all look forward to when there are actually physical tax sets for sale, and when the Kickstarter rewards start going out to people circa roughly November, they're saying, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the guess, yep. It seems like they're going to be pretty close on that.
Is VR tack that you can wear the Oculus or the Vive and like play in virtual reality on the table? You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
That would be dang cool. Anyone in the
That
audience
would
knows
that would
VR,
be
free money.
spectacular.
Make it happen. Stop! No, you're not allowed to do that.
You stole his joke. The whole thing was just a setup for that joke, that pun. Man.
If to be a member of the U.S. TAC Association, you are not allowed to make TAC puns. That is in the charter. That is going in the charter.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you, all the people who watched. I hope you all enjoyed the tournament and learned a little about TAC and everything. And we look forward to seeing you in the future, both here on the TAC Strategy YouTube channel and throughout the community in future projects. So, everybody have a great night. And now I get to play my snappy little theme song.
Peace.
Finally.
All right. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you all so much. Good night.
Take care, everybody.